Well, hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my little gardening show. We're downstairs in the basement tonight. Hopefully, the Wi-Fi is gonna hold up. Anyway, it's been a little while since we've been online. I thought I would jump on real quick. I got my 2022 whole seed catalog. It's Baker Creek's 25th anniversary, or 25 years of selling seeds. So there's 532 pages of seeds, different things to consider. Some of this stuff's recycled material that, I've seen in other catalogs, but there's some new things that they're carrying this year. Usually they go on like a big international trip, or they have people either that where they're collecting seeds, or they highlight different growers that they've partnered with that are growing seeds, growing different crops and sending seed in to be resold, which is kind of cool. There's a well, a couple guys they were highlighting a variety of okra this year that looks kind of interesting. I may end up ordering. Let's see if we can find the page here real quick. But anyway, I like Baker Creek. There's a couple different companies I do tend to order from. Just because usually it's quality stuff. Let's see if we can find the guy here. But last weekend, yeah, here it is. We'll see if we can pull the camera down or just kind of show you. What's kind of cool is they got little biographies of their growers. So this guy's John Jackson. And he's got a place called Comfort Farms down in Milledgeville, Georgia. And I guess he used to be an Army Ranger. Hey, Edwin, how's it going, man? Yeah, your watermelon's good too. Yeah, you don't want the you don't want my COVID. I'm about over it. Hypothetically, if assuming the virus is real, which I think whatever I had last year was definitely real. Lost my taste and smell. So like the traditional COVID-19 or whatever that I got when we were sick for a while, fatigue, just completely exhausted. This round's different. I got the Omicron variant, I think, or whatever it is, whether it's COVID or a bad respiratory cold. Enabled me to work from home for the past week, so that was fun. But anyway, I've been looking through the catalog. I ordered my seeds last weekend, a couple. I might order some more, but I got some really cool stuff this year I'm going to try. Tom, you might like this one. I got the glass gem corn. I'm excited about this. Kids have been on me for several years. They keep harping on me like, why don't you grow corn, Daddy? Why don't you grow corn? Well, I don't grow corn because there's high winds that usually come through and knock everything down. That's why I don't grow corn. But what I'm going to do this year, I saw it on it's been a while since he's made videos, but MHP Gardening, Mobile Home Park Gardening, had a video on how he does corn where he'll put T-posts up. he'll plant his rows of corn and he puts these T-posts up and then takes tomato twine and goes around the whole thing. So like he'll plant it in like rows of 2 or rows of 4. He'll put his T-posts up on the perimeter of all that and then do the twine so that as it grows, if like a straight line winds come through and knock it down or try to knock it down, it as it's kind of going, it hits the tomato twine and it keeps it stood up so it doesn't knock it all down. So that's what we're going to do this next year, Lord willing. The big like 1,000-acre farm across the street is doing soybeans this next year because it did corn this year. So I'll have a good chance of growing the glass gem corn without it cross-pollinating with like the GMO crops. At least that's the hope anyway. And I'm hoping I can save some seeds from this, you know, a couple years and dry them out and save my own seeds because these were like, I don't know, $5 a packet. And I only got 2 packets, so it's not like I got a lot of corn here, you know, enough to do a couple rows. There's only maybe 75 seeds in each packet. So, oh, now I'm doing tall telephone peas. This has been a favorite, and I don't think they sold this last year. They brought this back this year. And I love growing these. This is usually some of the first stuff in the garden in the springtime. Depending if the ground is good enough to plant in, usually try to get it in the ground in April, and it's up and starts coming up in May, and then in June, early June, it's really pretty in full swing. Pods it's really good. But these vines will grow, or the peas will grow up to like at least 5 foot. They just climb and produce some really neat, really nice pods. So the plan is to try to grow them. So I got 2 packets of those, and they were $3.50 a piece. I pay I think like $36 for seeds this year because I've got a ton of seeds in the grow room, just a whole bucket full, like thousands of seeds of all different kinds. So I didn't have to get a whole lot. Wanted to get this new zucchini variety. It's called Long White of Palermo. It looked kind of cool, so I went ahead and got that. That was like $4 for just this little packet. And then I'm gonna do a pickling cucumber. I decided to go with the Chicago pickling. I've never grown this one. I've done the Boston pickling, and I've done a couple other varieties like the straight 8s. Those are probably my favorite because literally an 8-inch long cucumber, 8 to 10 inches, pretty thick, pretty nice. But last year our curcubits, I don't know, Tom, I know you guys, or I know you had some luck with them, but my cucumber and squash crop this last year was terrible. I don't know. Part of it was the weather. It was so cold for so late that by the time I got them in the ground, some of the pests that you don't see till later in the spring were already active and kind of took out the plants. They just didn't do well. Whereas the year before, we were able to get them plants in the ground earlier before the pests arrived. Had like an amazing cucumber, squash harvest. I mean, tons of stuff. Last year, not so much. And sometimes that happens. You have years where certain crops just do better than others because the conditions that particular year are just better, more conducive. For whatever reason, you don't have the pest pressure that you did in other years. I got this new Swiss chard, Barisi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but this looked kind of interesting. So I thought I'd try that. Oh, cool. That's awesome. I assume it's running like a top then. Did you end up putting that in yourself, or did you have somebody do it for you? We ended up in the whole saga with Amco. So my daughter, my brother-in-law called, so that her car's down at the shop this week. They're trying to locate a transmission. This will be the third one. The first one they got, I guess, when they were going to install her, where they dropped it, bent the pin. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. I really like the Buick. I don't know. I like my car. It just rides pretty nice. I need to get the front shocks replaced, I think. I think they're pretty well going, but I enjoy driving it. That's cool that that's fixed. We're still waiting on my daughter's car. Got the first transmission, they dropped, bent the pin in or something, so they had to get another one. Installed that. Obviously, that's the one that you test drove, and it's bad. So my brother-in-law is trying to find another transmission, trying to order one from a junkyard or whatever, that's got low miles. And I told him, I said, I'd rather you take your time and find something that's good than, just pick whatever's on the shelf. It's, end up getting another bad one. I don't want to do that again if we can avoid it, but we'll see. Speaking of my daughter, we just heard back from her yesterday. I think it was yesterday. She went to the Grand Canyon with the geology department. Yeah. Take your time, Tom. Take your time. But we heard back. I think it's since the first time since like 1984, 86 or something, that they've allowed the school, like, to take students down in the Grand Canyon and actually camp overnight inside the canyon. So she got to do that this past week. And it's kind of cool how everything worked out, because we were coming down with COVID or whatever last weekend. Yeah. We were coming down with the COVID last weekend, the Omicron variant, whatever, bad chest colds, and we were trying to get her out of here, keep her isolated downstairs or quarantined downstairs so that she can go. Had her take a couple rapid tests, make sure she was good, and she was. So she got to go to Grand Canyon, camp down there, had a really great time, but apparently wasn't wearing her hiking boots, or just not used to it. Anyway, she's got some busted toes where the toenails are. She's got some issues that we're going to have to help her with when she comes back. But anyway, her flight comes back Monday morning at 12 a.m. So my wife will be going to pick her up and all that good stuff while I go to work. Monday, Lord willing, we'll see how that goes. But cool stuff. Cool stuff that what's happening. Oh, here's another one. This tomato looked kind of cool, so I thought I'd try it out. It's Mila. It's an orange one, but a little concerning. If you see that message there, they overpacked the seed packet due to low germination rate, 69%. So it'll be interesting to see what I get to germinate from here and go from there. They gave me some freebies. I got this, looks like it's a hot pepper. It's called Datel. And they probably gave it to me free because they can't sell the stuff. I don't. I don't know. Yeah, they don't have the Mint Ladder Magic stuff. They don't carry that stuff there. Which I saw. I don't know if you saw this, Tom, but it looks like Jim Kennard's website or growfood.com.org or whatever. They're selling a micronized version of the minerals, the magic mineral mix. Supposedly it takes less of it for it to be just as effective. I don't know if you saw that. There was some email I got from the growfood.org or .com about that. I don't know if there's anything to that. Oh. But we're gonna. I need to check on my inventory. I think I've got enough micronutrient mix. Yeah, I think I've got enough micronutrient mix for this year at least to go. I usually use only like 2 packets with what I'm growing. That's like 50 pounds of fertilizer. I think that's what that'll make. Is usually what I use in Mint Ladder for the size garden I've got. It doesn't take a whole lot for it to be effective. Still gotta get out there and spread my leaves. I got a good start, but there's still a lot more to do, at least on the 2 piles on the north end. Getting those spread before the snows come. And there's just a lot to do garden wise. Yeah, I do need to stock up on some stuff before the world ends or before the stuff hits the fan, right? Before it becomes cost prohibitive, to find anything. Or to source anything. Gotta figure out what we're gonna do there. Also, my grow room and greenhouse, I need to figure out just my strategy for this year. I need to really sit down and figure out my days and come up with a task list or come up with the goals, like what I want to try to accomplish with the garden this year. Kind of come up with a game plan and then create my task list. There's my youngest. You want to be in the video too? You can be with me for a little bit. Hopefully YouTube won't flag my video having a youngster in it. They like to do that. If you're not like a popular channel. You can sit over here, child.
I want to see the seeds.
Oh, you want to see the seeds? All right.
I want to look at the seeds.
You can look at them. But anyway, I got a lot of work to do. I got to figure things out, figure out my schedule for starting stuff. I want to make sure I get my onion sets this year. Last year I delayed in ordering them because of the weather, and then by the time the weather was good, I missed the cutoff by like a week, which is kind of kicking myself there. It'd be better for me to order them earlier and then just store them local. And there's, I don't know, is that Ukrainian or Russian? Somebody just hopped on the channel.
We just want.
Yeah. Upstairs.
You're watching your face.
Oh, you were. That's hilarious. My kids are watching the live stream upstairs. Anywho. Needless to say, there's a lot to do, and figuring out what to grow and then preserving it, which has been a blessing so far. We've used a bunch of our tomato stuff already. We've been eating on the green beans. I mean, we did a good job on the stuff that we wanted to to put up, like we're actually using it. It's kind of cool. I don't know if you guys got like an Instapot. Tom, you got an Instapot? What is that? Yeah. That's going to be fun to grow. Anyway, my buddy Troy lives across the street. Oh, I have to get you an Instapot, man. The thing's like awesome. We have one of those. It's an imitation. It's the Power Pressure Pro, whatever. But it's like maybe a 6-quart pot, or it's their smallest version, and it did okay with like small stuff. But this one we got, my buddy across the street. They ended up getting Christmas presents for all the kids, and then they had one box for us. We're like, what in the heck? So we opened it up, and they got us a 8-quart Instapot Duo deal, and that thing's been awesome. We've been like using it about every night this week. And it's cool because it's just one pot. You just put all your stuff in there, and then just easy cleanup. It's made dinner prep a lot easier. Last night we ended up making what did we make in that last night? We made goulash last night. Night before that we did chicken and noodles. We've been doing stuff that's got a lot of starch. That's the downside. But we did pot roast. That thing did awesome. Did an awesome job at pot roast. We did spaghetti in it one night. So it's just pretty versatile. Been real easy. There's one of my daughters behind me there. You say hi, child?
Hi.
Getting your laundry? We got these racks. So like in the wintertime, actually all year round, because we're a large family, you can wash clothes a lot faster than you can dry them, depending on the loads and stuff like that. So a lot of the stuff we have the kids hang their clothes up on hangers, and so we'll do a real quick cycle, like 15-minute cycle, just to get the clothes kind of, I don't know, warm. They're still damp and all that, but then we hang them all up, and then we've got a box fan that we run. Dries them out pretty good. The other thing we got, yeah, second dryer. Yeah, but works out pretty well. Just being able to cycle through the loads of clothes and like just keep up on things. It's been a little bit of a challenge. That's another thing we've been kind of thinking about, like with the new year and stuff. Like, there's just a lot of like figuring out what's important. You know, what we want to spend time on. Because you can waste a lot of time, and you can spend time cultivating things that don't matter. You know, ultimately that take away from like, you know, the relationships that really matter, like your family and stuff like that. You can end up getting overcommitted with, whether it's church, whether it's other family members, or just people that are, I guess you would call them takers, instead of givers. Like, the relationship's not reciprocal. Like, they're always asking you for stuff or taking, you know, but there's like no, you're never on the positive side of that as far as benefiting from that relationship. I don't know. I think we all got people like that. And then you got others where it's good and yeah. Hey, I don't mind giving you the tomatoes, man. By the time we got rolling, Oh, good. Yeah, I have to get my car over to you. Let's see. So what I probably need to do is get a hold of my brother-in-law and see timing. I'll get my daughter's car back because we're down a car right now. Um, but worst case scenario, probably this next weekend, or depending on the weather. Like I don't want you to be doing the brakes in like 0 degree weather. Like we could see what the weather's going to be like, and try to pick a good day for you to do that. So it's not like miserable. But yeah, we get those done. Thermostat, and then maybe see about that. Shoot. I have to bring a kerosene, one of those outdoor patio heaters, right? Get that thing running for you. Well, I don't mind the cold weather, but a lot of times my hands, especially, oh, it's just terrible. The cold and stuff. You get older, like your your joints are already not working maybe as well as they did when you were like 20, right? You know, and then you throw the cold weather on top of that, and it becomes a little more difficult to do anything. Um, and the fact that, I'm probably about 60, 70 pounds heavier than what I was when I was 20, just getting up and down is a little bit more of a. You got to think about what you do a little bit. It's not like you can just jump up and jump down or all that, but you're smarter about how you move and what you do. The older you get to compensate. Because if you don't, you're gonna be down the next day, or you're gonna be hurting, right? Yeah. So anyway, there's quite a bit to do. We gotta prioritize some things, figure some stuff out. Again, a lot of stuff with the garden. I want to prioritize that this year and try to do real good. Make it worth our while. Try to allocate some time. Also, thinking about the garden, need to figure out a way to make things easier out there as far as maintenance wise. Because my dad's busy too, and it's not fair to him to have to take care of or do more than what he normally would out there. So just figuring out some, whether that's like doing raised beds um, at some point to make it a little bit easier, or putting in some kind of irrigation. Yeah, grow boxes. Putting in some grow boxes and T frames, and irrigation, to kind of standardize some stuff, make it a little easier to cultivate and harvest and all that. Or do we just keep going with what we're doing and just trying to make it a little simpler? As far as maybe doing more high intensity growing where I've got a pretty large area, but maybe I'm not utilizing all of it. Um, or maybe part of it's for, we try to get some fruit trees or fruit bushes, and try to allocate some of that space to perennials, I guess is what I'm thinking. That are easier to take care of, where pretty much as long as the ground is good initially, I mean, they should be okay. But try to get some perennials established, and then try to do more high intensity growing in the actual beds. You know, that's one thing about you know, the no-till and all that. I mean, philosophically, I mean, I agree with all of it, and like, you know, kind of the basic principles of disturbing the soil as little as possible. Um, Horseradish, yeah, that's, and I heard horseradish is kind of invasive. I don't know if that's. I'd have to read up on that again, but I think it's that stuff's pretty easy to grow. Um, but yeah, doing some perennials and then trying to do more high intensity stuff. Um, Again, kind of the soil and stuff. A couple principles of like, you know, you want to disturb it as little as possible. You want to try to keep it planted as much as possible. Um, there's a couple different principles, but those are some of the main ones. But if we're doing more mint lighter stuff where it's like grow beds and you know, transplanting stuff into the garden and whatnot, I mean, really, it's whatever is going to allow us to grow quality food um, with minimal effort is kind of what, you know, the goal would be. And I do think you can do quite a bit of that with mint lighter for sure. I think you also do it through like, it would take a lot longer, but through like no-till practices and trying to incorporate some things to make things easier. Yeah, I think about like you see them on Instagram a lot, Never Sink Farm and a couple places like that. That what they've done is, I mean, they advertise themselves as no-till. They're really not no-till. They use this machine called a tilther. Like once their beds are established, they're putting compost on the beds and all that, but they are tilling the top couple inches of soil, the tilther, and using a tilther to cultivate beds, turn beds over, things like that. They are using implements to manage, but what sets them apart as really successful and all that is that they've got really good systems and processes in place for managing their farm and growing their stuff. I mean, they've got it down to a science as far as like what they can fit in a space, you know, what they're going to plant, the schedules and all that. They've got little tool sheds at each of the bed locations so they don't have to haul around tools. They got like cultivation schedules as far as keeping the stuff weed free. I mean, their fields are like pristine, like clean. They've got irrigation. I mean, they got all the infrastructure in place to like be, and they're doing it professionally, of course, right? I mean, it's one thing to be doing it as a hobby versus like doing it for a living, you know. And these guys doing it full time for a living and whatever. But if you can learn from that and implement some of that stuff on it, even if it's on a really smaller, you know, smaller scale, to make things easier on like my dad, who is, you know, mid 70s, and on us, where we're only getting out there once a week, maybe twice a week. Um, Whatever we can do to make it more successful and easier, you know, I want to do that. And then we've talked about like long term, if we end up staying where we're at, do we do something with our backyard? We were talking about that the other day, and I don't know. There's a couple trees that would need to be trimmed and probably come down to make that happen, because the southern side, there's two silver maples in the backyard that are huge and kind of overshadow the backyard, to where the majority of the backyard is kind of shaded, which is nice in the summertime if you're going to be hanging out and all that. But if you want to grow a garden back there, you're going to need, you know, some direct sunlight. And you know, thinking about the what 6 laws of plant growth, you want to make sure they're in like a limiting factor that's going to sabotage you and all that. And I saw that with like the grow boxes this year. I got these grow boxes that I put out in the driveway on the north side of the house, kind of up by the house, which is kind of a mistake. I thought everything would be doing real good, but it took forever to grow lettuce. It just grew really slow. Um, didn't do near as well as I thought, and a lot of it's because it just wasn't getting the sunlight um, that it needed to do photosynthesis for those boxes to grow, um, based on the variety of lettuce I was growing and stuff. So I need to relocate those boxes to the backyard, in a sunny spot, or push them further out away from the shadow of the house so that they're getting a lot more sunlight uh, during the daylight hours and stuff like that. So anyway, it's just prioritizing, like figuring out, like planning ahead, and figuring out how much time we got, and all that good stuff, so that it's fun and not a burden. And we don't waste time like doing more than what we can handle out there. So I don't know, but I still want to be doing that. Trying to think what else has been going on. Obviously dealing with sickness. It's kind of been a little bit of a drag this week, but in some ways kind of nice. Kind of gave me some additional time at home. Definitely highlighted the benefits of working from home. I know, Tom, you can work from home periodically, but man, it's kind of nice. I know some people just hate it because they're like have a need for like that social interaction and all that. I know my bosses don't really care for working from home. They're kind of traditionalists and like, the incremental cost. Uh, the incremental cost of or the cost it is to other employees in the office that's having to support those people that are working from home, or pick up some of the menial tasks that those people normally would be doing to facilitate that. And there's some truth there, for sure, but it's not that much more work. I know my employees in my department during the initial COVID surge back in 2020, they all ended up working from home for several months, and the only thing I really had to do was scan invoices into them, print some manual checks, things of that nature. There wasn't really a whole lot I had to do to support them. They could pretty much do their jobs from home. And even my job, most of my stuff's online anyway, like payroll, a lot of the health insurance stuff, everything's like web based. Yeah. And like Microsoft Teams is like awesome. You can, if anybody wanted to get a hold of me or whatever, they can just call me up on Teams. Call, you can chat right in the app. You can share files. You can do with Office 365. It's not a big deal at all from my limited perspective. So yeah, and Zoom works well too. I think we did that initially before we got on Teams. But it's really pretty easy, as far as like facilitating meetings and all that stuff. And from a personal perspective, it's great because they actually got probably more productivity. Yeah, we went to Nextiva for our phone system. Went to completely digital solution that's pretty nice. Works with our ERP or our CRM system and all that good stuff. But anyway, work from home. It was nice. In some ways, I'd say it was probably more productive overall. My work day started earlier. Heck, there was one morning couldn't sleep. I got up at like 4:30 and started working on a couple of HR projects related to compensation and benefits and stuff like that. I had all those spreadsheets and data to my boss by like 8 o'clock. Already put in like 3.5 hours. And ended up working until like 4:30 that afternoon as far as different things. So I mean, there was more time. I was able to work. Didn't have the commute to or from work, and I didn't have the lunch, expense as far as if I was going to eat out. Um, you know, a couple times a week I'll go out and grab a sandwich or whatever. I didn't need to do that. I was at home, just make my lunch. Just time savings all around, and then in the lulls where I was all caught up, or maybe we got a time where you'd take a little break. I could help out with stuff here at home, whether it was throwing a load of laundry in, whether it was like doing some meal prep for dinner, or whether it was like helping a kid with the school stuff. I guess the bottom line is like everything was more integrated, and you don't have the expense of like the commute, you don't have the expense of like meals, you don't have the wasted time. Um, it just, I don't know, it was nice. So who knows? I know that's kind of the future, maybe hybrid work model, whatever. It'd be kind of nice if they offered that, where there's a little bit of flexibility, on a weekly basis. Um, so anyway, and the other thing too, being sick, it allowed me to still work. Um, whereas normally, if we didn't have that ability, I would have been isolated, and they would have lost, 5 days of productivity. Anyway, we'll see how things go. But in the meantime, um, I get my garden plan together. I need to do some inventory on like supplies that I'm going to need, and probably need to start sourcing that stuff or procuring it before the growing season begins. Need to look at my San Marzanos. I know you were wanting some of them, Tom. I've got, I know I probably got 2 packets of seeds the last time I looked. So I should be able to get enough starts to you. I don't know how many starts you wanted. The San Marzanos or the Romas. I think you like the Romas too. But I need to go and look and see what. Yeah, onion sets. Yeah, to start them from seed really like into January because they take forever to grow. Um, the times that I've done them. Usually do all in a pot, grow them like grass. And once they get large enough, separate them into individual shoots to transplant them outdoors. Works out pretty well. So I gotta get those ordered. Probably do potatoes again this year. Try to do maybe a russet or a Kennebec. It's usually been pretty good. probably do some okra this year. My dad likes okra. Corn again is gonna be the new one for us. We're gonna try. Uh, Maybe try to get some perennials like some rhubarb or not rhubarb, asparagus. Try to get some asparagus planted. Um, Maybe look at what else I can do. Some fruit bushes. I talked about doing blueberry bushes or blackberry bushes on section of the garden. Um, so yeah, it's pretty much the game plan. So well, what else you got going on, Tom? I know. So you got your car working. You got any other projects you're working on? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it'd be fun to like, as long as you have the resources. I think it'd be kind of fun to flip a house or do something like that. I mean, over the years, I've picked up a few skills. Like we did our whole basically bathroom, COVID bathroom rental or reno last year. We started that in the winter. I think around that time of the really big snow, first big snow we got. And tore that thing down to the studs and basically didn't have that bathroom or bedroom um, for a couple months. What, February to April? I finished it Easter Sunday. Um, yeah. But finished it Easter Sunday and it turned out real nice. I'm happy we did it. We've been able to enjoy it and stuff like that. But it was a lot of work. Um, just a lot of stuff and it's one of those things where once you get into a project like that and you start tearing into stuff or you start removing stuff and then that uncovers other things and then you see other issues and then next thing you know it's like I'm just going to take all this down to the studs and do it right, try to get it done the right way, rather than try to hodgepodge it or well, now, I think that'd be the biggest challenge in like a house flip is because like obviously you're wanting to try to make money in like a house flip and you're trying to like do things so that it's functional and stuff, but there's a law of diminishing returns where you're not going to sink you know a whole bunch of money into like um, depending on what the thing is you're fixing up, whether it's bathroom or kitchen or whatever. Um, because the house is only going to sell for so much. Yeah. So there's plenty of ways, like you said, to cover stuff up. I think that would be the challenge is like not letting perfect get in the way of good enough, if that makes sense. Settle for less, as long as it's safe and it's like sanitary and like you're not trying to like cover up something that's going to be a major problem um, for the homeowner down the road or whatever. You try to do things the best you can within the budget that you have. I think, I guess, is what you would do in that. Um, I don't know, for personal stuff that we fix up. I mean, I tend to want. I don't mind paying for quality stuff, because by and large you get what you pay for. You know, depending on what it is. I'd rather do that than like go the cheapy route and then have to replace it like 3 times, and by the time it's all said and done, you spent what you would have spent anyway had you just gotten like the quality version of whatever it is. Um, but yeah, I'd help you out if you ended up getting something where you needed help, fixing something up or whatever. That could be a fun project. I got some decent tools. Um, I got a nice like Dremel cutter type deal. Got a nice chop saw that I got to do the floor and stuff. Um, so yeah, and it's kind of fun seeing something like you build, and I think that's why I like gardening too, is because like more often than not, yeah. Actually, so I took that table saw from you and all that, and actually I've got a buddy that's using that now. Actually, I don't know if he's using it, but it's at his house. But anytime you want to use my chop saw, it basically does. It's really nice. It's one of them. I got it at Harbor Freight. It's one of them Bauer. It's a 10-inch compound uh, saw. You know, where you can do all your angles. It'll go both ways. You can lock it in and all that. And I've got a stand for it so that you can, if you're cutting a board or whatever, and then it's extends. I think it's like what is it? It'll cut 12 inches or 18 inches. I think it's like 12 inches. Where not only does it come down and goes left or right, but it also has the ability to operate kind of like a radial arm saw, where you can just pull it through the material. So it's pretty nice. Um, so anyway, yeah, sliding compound miter saw. That's what it is. They're running a special on them there at Harbor Freight. So that is one thing. The money we were saving with me doing the reno on the bathroom, like we invested some of it in tools. So I got a couple new tools, different things that I got I think it was an 18 gauge nailer, finish nailer. That's a Ryobi. That thing's awesome. I ended up doing like shiplap in the bathroom with that. I made it super easy. Works. It just works really well. So anyway, well, I think I'm gonna jump off of here and get some stuff going here for tomorrow. And I don't think we're gonna go anywhere tomorrow. I'm about like 90% better. I still got this kind of congestion and stuff associated with that. I read where, people with supposedly COVID or Omicron, they can develop like secondary infections, right? Like not bronchitis, pneumonia, I guess. Something like that. I don't think any of that's happening, but still got this congestion going on. It's not like drainage anymore, but just congested. So I'm hoping that will go away in the next day or two. I've been taking stuff. What, fire cider? I made a bunch of that, and my buddy across the street wanted a bottle, so I gave him a bottle. I still had a couple bottles from last year, and I guess the stuff is shelf stable for what I was reading for up to 2 years. It will darken and it kind of loses its flavor. Like I tried the stuff that's like a year old and it didn't taste. I mean, it's okay, but the stuff that I made this year tastes a lot better. Anyway, I've been trying to do that. Probably gonna start. I got some vitamins and stuff like that, and trying to drink some orange juice. I think the big thing though is just getting a good night's sleep. Um, just trying to get some rest, catch up on sleep. Is probably the biggest thing. So anywho, I'm gonna call it a night. I got some kiddos upstairs that are hanging out. That's probably been the big thing too. They spend a lot of time indoors and just kind of sitting around, not doing a whole lot because we've all been sick. Um, Hopefully, we can get them up and moving again and active and doing some stuff. At the very least, maybe playing some board games together since we've got all this time now. So, all right. Well, hey, as far as the car, I'll figure out. I'll hit you up sometime this week. We'll figure out a time I can bring that over for you to do some work on it, whether it's just the brakes or brakes and the thermostat. Because I do have a replacement thermostat for it that I bought a while back. And then you mentioned something about the seals on the, on the air vents or whatever. You were talking about a seal can go bad where you can get some engine fumes that come through if you're at a standstill, which I think is what's happening. I don't know if there's a way of testing that or not, figuring if that's it or if it's another issue. But maybe we'll look at that too. But anyway, we'll figure out a day. I get the car over there and get things going and try to get it all knocked out. And then probably down the road, I'll probably hit you up about getting the front shocks redone. I know you do it a little differently where you try to you save the spring um, that's in that unit because I think it's all one piece, but there's a way of taking the spring and then reusing the spring, but the actual interior of the shock is new. Maybe we'll figure something like that out sometime. Maybe that'll be the next repair on it. Is getting those front shocks redone. Um, Depending on how much time you have, if it's something you're willing to do. Yeah, front struts. So that's another thing too. I got kind of been praying on that and like trying to figure that out. But it'd be nice to get an upgrade for my wife. We got that big white beater van that currently does not have heat, which presents a challenge in the wintertime driving. And I need to get a new set of rear tires. So I'm just kind of adding up the expense. I'm like, well, we could do some repairs on that and this, that, and the other. Or I could just try to sell it or trade it in or junk it, and we just get something different for her. As far as just a daily driver, something around town. What's that? You have to put it on the floor to have the heat on. Is that the setting, like on the dial? Yeah, maybe we'll try that out. I think she's had it on the defrost setting, so maybe we'll try that on the floor. Yeah, I'll try that then, and put that on the floor and see if that gets that going. If I can get another year out of that van, it would be ideal. It would give us time to figure something else out, vehicle wise. Yeah. And then be thinking about if there's any kind of plant starts you want from me, or you want me, if there's anything you want me to start for you. Because I am going to get my grow room going. I may try to upgrade when we get a tax return. I may try to upgrade the other set of lights so I can do more as far as starts and stuff like that. But if there's anything you want me to start for you, I can. Other than that, I'll hit you up about the car. I'll get a hold of my brother-in-law and see what he's thinking on my daughter's car. And then if depending on what's going on this week, we'll try to figure out a day. And maybe it's next weekend. I get it over there. Try to get it over there at some point for you to work on and all that good stuff. So, all right. Well, guys, take it easy. We'll catch you on the next one, and we'll go from there.